Throughout the past 3 years, I think I tried almost every single billionaire productivity type of strategies to be more effective in work and life in general. Obviously, I don't use them all, and to be honest, 90% of them are garbage, but I was able to filter them for myself, and I can confidently say that I'm able to complete at least 3 times of the amount of work per day comparing to what I've been able to complete a couple of years ago with the same or better quality. So my goal for this video is to provide as much value as I can and share the insights and thoughts I have about productivity and something which people either don't talk enough online or what's, I think, underestimated regarding productivity. And it's all based on my own experience dealing with the productivity tactics. There's going to be 7 different concepts. Some of them are simple and just make sense, and I just want to highlight them. Other ones are more controversial, but I still want to go through all 7 concepts and you can implement any of those. So first, do not implement all the productivity tactics all at once. The reason for that is you first will get overwhelmed and you will definitely start hating all of them all the time if you will not be able to keep up at least with one of them. It will create a whole mess around your daily system. So my suggestion here is to implement 1 per week. I believe that over a week, consistently repeating the same habit or exercise or productivity tactic, you can easily get used to it, and it will be way easier to implement another one the other week. But just make sure you actually complete 7 days daily repeating that habit, and only when you confidently can say that you are able to keep up with it on a daily basis, then you can add another one to your list. For an example, you want to start doing morning journaling. But you also heard it's very healthy to wake up early, go for a morning run, then maybe take a cold shower. All of those are nice, but if your goal is actually to implement all of those habits into your daily routine, imagine you're gonna start on Monday with 5 new habits in the early morning. I'm sure that by Wednesday you will forget about at least half of them. By Thursday, you're gonna hate the whole system, and by Friday, you're probably gonna quit. So as I mentioned before, start with something simple. Take, for example, morning journaling. Maybe set up the alarm or the daily reminder to do morning journaling, or even trying to link it to another habit which you already have, like drinking coffee. Maybe drink coffee and do morning journaling in the same time. So it's easier for you to actually add this habit to your routine. And then over a week, when you actually get used to doing journaling and you do it every time you drink coffee, now you can actually add something else and then set the daily reminders for that new habit. And over weeks, it's actually going to build a whole habit system for you. Yes, it takes some time, but this is better than doing it never. Besides that, you're going to appreciate all the habits and tactics that you have more. I was struggling with it myself for a long time, and only now I'm actually able to understand how to add new ideas and new tactics, habits to my daily routine. And it does take time, so I never rush with it. Second concept here is pretty controversial, and some of you guys might not agree with me, but technically everything else you do besides work is a distraction. Even watching this video is a distraction. I believe that life comes in different phases, and probably when you start your projects or business or any kind of work, you're pretty excited, so you do want to spend a lot of time on it, and you will actually prioritize that work over sleep, food, maybe hanging out with people. You're basically going to focus on that because you enjoy it, because it brings you a lot of ideas, creativity, sense to your life in general. And then over time becomes monotonous, becomes more tedious and boring in a way for you, especially if you work on your own project or your own business and it doesn't develop as much as you expected. Then your productivity or your mood when it comes to working on a project will probably be very stable and very normal, not too exciting comparing to the way you started it, right? And this is actually the stage where a lot of people either quit or also doubt a lot if they should stay in the project or should quit. At this stage of a journey, I believe people start learning more about productivity, structuring their day better, developing systems for themselves, finding better people to work with, and trying to make their work more fun and more productive. Now you actually have to put effort to make it engaging for you, because you are not yet at the top, at the very successful level where you feel fulfilled. And it's also not the stage where you just start and you're excited about everything. It is kind of the middle point where you spend a lot of time. A lot of businesses take years to actually get to a certain stage and start growing. And therefore people responsible for the business start actually enjoying it more. Because when you're at the point where you understand the game, when you are confident in what you do and you know how to grow, your business grows, your project develops, and you actually see the progress, achieve goals faster and better and with more confidence, your excitement and your mood in general actually goes back on track. With you also being very interested in the project you're working on, you know they work, you know they actually are what you want to do. Again, get very interested in them. So again, you probably don't need any productivity advices or anything to keep you focused on the projects, because you are focused, because you are interested. And so to conclude this point, this video and many other productivity ideas which you're gonna learn are probably for people who struggle to complete enough work and they know they need and they can complete more. If you're not the type of person, I admire you a lot. Close down this video and go do some work because you enjoy it already. You don't need to watch any other videos. If you're like me and you want to reach 100% of your productivity potential, stay tuned. Concept number 3 is time blocking. This concept is pretty popular, but I also think it's extremely underrated. And people do know about time blocks, but at the same time, they don't use them enough. So briefly, the way time blocking works is you set the certain amount of hours or minutes even for the particular project or task, or you even break down every hour of your day to work more effectively. When I first started using time blocks, they didn't really help me at all, because what I was doing is literally setting the 2 hours for tasks, for example. And when I was at the end of the time, I realized I'm like halfway through and I just kept going with it. Therefore, all my further tasks that day were pushed basically to the next day or to the end of the day. So I was still not very productive and not feeling productive at all. So block more time for a task or project than you need. And if you finish earlier, just do more. Why don't you improve the quality of it if you have time, if you set time for it? Or if you're actually not finished by the end of the time you set for the task, do not go over time. Leave it for another time that you haven't set the block for. Respect your time and the time will respect you. Another really important point is to block the time for rest. I know how we all work. One day we actually feel super motivated and we worked 11 hours the entire day. And then tomorrow we feel completely exhausted the entire day and we can't really focus on anything, so we work 2 hours. This sounds like we complete enough work, but at the same time, there is no consistency at all. And so even if you feel super motivated and it's afternoon and you work the entire morning, still dedicate some time for rest, because that's going to create consistency, which is better than one-time motivation. And also block the time for using the phone and texting and calling. This is my huge issue, and I always think I'm missing out on something when I'm checking my phone. What I started doing is I only allow myself to use the phone for texting and for calling other people when I block this time for it, right? I had to convince myself that there's nothing that can happen in a couple of hours if I don't touch my phone. So now I'm just like putting it away until the rest of my project or rest of my block, and then I have 5 minutes to check something or to respond to a message without getting distracted during the work. And point number 4, which is actually relates to the time blocking, is plan the day before and time block tomorrow. There's even a quote, the day starts the day before, which I totally believe is true. I think when you wake up, knowing exactly the task which you need to do, knowing your routine, knowing what you're working on today, you first of all wake up better. You're not gonna stay in bed thinking, oh, what I'm supposed to do today? Do I have a sport for today? Do I have to meet someone? You don't know. If you're certain and confident about your following tasks and projects, and you have dedicated time for all of them, you're gonna know exactly what to do from the first step of the day. So that's gonna help you live through the day better. Number 5 has changed my life completely, but I could not figure out how to do it correctly for a long time, which is setting a theme for a day. What I do is I set a particular theme or a topic or a project which I'm going to be focused on that day, and I am still allowing myself to jump on the other calls or switch my focus on something else quickly, but in the same time the main core focus of the particular day would still stay on the same thing. That actually helps me be more creative with a particular project and also develop better ideas for it, being more focused, and also increasing the quality of my work when I'm that focused. And a couple of personal tips from me here. If you create a lot of content, set the one entire day for content creation, or 2 days if you create that much content. I think it's better to wake up knowing that, okay, today is a shooting day, I have to be mentally and physically prepared for it. Besides that, I try to plan at least one day of the week where I'm going to spend as much time as I can with people, which is usually Saturday for me. Also on Sundays, I usually have a reflection and learning day where I mainly focus on something I want to research or learn, or maybe watch something. And besides that, I usually reflect on the entire week in that of Sunday and roughly plan my following week. If you actually develop this theme for a day, concept for yourself, please share in the comment. I'd love to know how you structure your week. And let's jump into the point number 6. Here I want to talk about sleep, and I feel like people just don't pay enough attention to sleep, even though they sleep literally 30% of their life. And the reason healthy sleep is that important is, imagine a day where you wake up with a huge amount of energy, go for a morning run or gym. Imagine a day when you wake up with a huge amount of energy, you go for a morning run or a gym, and then you come back, start working, and then by say 9 or 10 a.m. you already completed a bunch of work, being very productive. You will feel extremely fulfilled by that time, and it's still going to be morning for you. For a lot of people, including me, it creates a snowball effect, and therefore I just want to keep going with the flow and keep working on the stuff which I started in the morning. So you kind of program yourself, and it starts the day before. It doesn't start in the morning, it starts the day before when you optimize your sleep in advance. And there are 3 simple things I do to sleep better. First of all, I don't look at the screen at least 40 minutes before I go to bed. Second thing, I sleep in a cold and dark room. I actually use the blackout curtains, that help me a lot. And third, I usually go to bed not when I'm completely exhausted, but when I still have a little bit of an energy, which is usually between 10 and 10:30 p.m. for me. I think if you just follow those tips regarding sleep, you will feel extremely more productive and you're gonna have more energy on a daily basis. Last point, and I've actually mentioned it a few times, is doing morning sports. The reason morning sport is that effective is similar to optimizing your sleep. Is first, you're gonna have more energy. Second, it just builds momentum. Sport builds momentum really fucking well. There is an entire concept called runner's high, and it doesn't only apply to runners, but it's just the name of the concept, where you feel a little bit high after doing sport. It just builds a morning momentum for you. Momentum is extremely important for business, and that's why a lot of points in this video I mentioned are related to building momentum, such as planning the day in advance, such as doing the morning sports, also optimizing your sleep and having more energy during the day. I hope at least one of these concepts is new to you, and if you guys want to know more or learn more about these concepts, just send me a message on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever. I'd love to talk to fellow entrepreneurs and connect. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.